they also take your toddler's mind off of eating, tasting, smelling, enjoying the food that they're eating. They can become mindless with eating. And our goal is to have all children be more mindful with eating. Did you know that toddlers build their eating habits very early on? That's why it's so important to build toddler healthy eating habits from the get-go. It's no surprise that toddlers who watch TV or play with their iPads at mealtime tend to do that later on in childhood as well. That habit gets established early on. But we want toddlers to enjoy eating their food. We want them to pay attention to it. We want them to try new foods, and we want them to develop healthy eating habits that will last a lifetime. We also want them to build a sense of their hunger, so that need to eat, but we also want them to build that sense of fullness or that desire to stop eating. So how do we build toddler healthy eating habits? I'm going to show you how. In this video, I'm reviewing 6 easy tips that you can use today and you can put into practice as you help your toddler move through this age and stage of eating. Because when toddlers don't develop healthy eating habits at this stage, they're at higher risk for overeating and undereating the nutrients that are essential not only for their growth, but for their overall health as well. So we know healthy toddler eating habits begin in the high chair essentially, and in those early stages of feeding and interacting around food with your toddler. So many times parents don't know what to focus on or how to begin establishing healthy eating habits. And picky eating is common, and it can really trip parents up like you in that phase when your toddler is not cooperating, not eating what you've made. It can feel very frustrating. But I've got good news. You can still build healthy eating habits at this stage in the game with a few things to keep in mind. The first tip I have for you is to build a structure or a routine when it comes to meals and snacks. This means serve meals and snacks at pretty much the same place every single day. I know it's not going to always work out that way, but if the location for meals and snacks is primarily in the kitchen, at the countertop, or at the table, your toddler will start to get that routine in place in their mind. They will associate the table, the kitchen, the countertop with eating. Try to keep the timing of meals and snacks pretty similar from day to day. It's not hard and fast. You don't have to be exactly on time each day, but you want to keep it in the ballpark. Lunchtime, sort of plus or minus 30 minutes, you'll be fine. The routine is the most important thing though. And so if the timing can be approximately the same day in and day out, your toddler will get really accustomed to that routine. We know toddlers need 5 or 6 eating times a day. That's because their tummies are smaller, they have high nutrient needs, and we want to make sure that we give them several opportunities to eat throughout the day. Please note, this does not mean that they have to eat at those times of the day. It's just that we are providing an opportunity to have a nutritious meal or a nutritious snack 5 or 6 times each day. You want to space those meals and snacks out around 2 to 2.5 hours, maybe even 3, in between the timing between a meal and a snack. That's, again, really more of a reflection on physiology and digestion. The tummy fills up. It takes about 2 hours for it to get empty and for those hunger hormones to signal to the brain that it's time to eat again. So the 2.5 to 3 hours, or the 2 to 3 hour window, is really based on physiology and digestion. And in terms of eating or drinking in between meals, try to make that a routine too. Maybe it's water between meals and snacks, and more nutritious beverages with meals and snacks. Routine is what matters the most. Second tip, nix the distractions. TV, toys, iPads, all of those things at the table during mealtime or snack time might help your toddler eat, but they also take your toddler's mind off of eating, tasting, smelling, enjoying the food that they're eating. They can become mindless with eating. And our goal is to have all children be more mindful with eating. Tip number 3, and this is related to the last tip, start to use language to help your toddler identify the sensation of hunger and fullness. So you might say, "Is your tummy happy?" That can be a way to teach your toddler that they are full or that they are satisfied. You might say, "Is your tummy empty?" Again, that can help your toddler identify and connect the feeling of hunger with that sensation of your tummy feeling empty. You can figure out your own language for this, but you do want to start talking about being satisfied, being still hungry or still empty. Keep it simple for the toddler, but know that associating those sensations around appetite will help your toddler stay tuned in to their own sensations of hunger and fullness. Number 4, try to serve a fruit or a vegetable or both at every meal and snack. I remember when my children were little, I made a point to serve fruit at every meal. So breakfast always had some sort of fruit. Maybe it was canned mandarin oranges or applesauce, or it might have been berries or sliced banana. But fruit always showed up at every single meal. That took the pressure off of me in terms of trying to make sure my kids were getting enough fruits and vegetables, but it also made fruit and vegetables sort of the routine. They were always part of a meal or a snack. And so the kids got really used to seeing fresh produce or canned produce or frozen produce at each meal. Remember, the more these foods show up at meals and snacks, the more familiar they become and the less of a stressful part of your mealtime they are. Tip number 5, sit with your toddler and be social. This is a place of connection, the meal table, the snack table. This is where adults and children interact. This is how children learn to eat, by watching the adults around them. But not only that, they learn to communicate and they learn to connect. Food is just the vehicle for that. So when you are sitting down with your toddler, it's not just about what they're eating or how nutritious the meal is. It should be about all of these other things. Connection. How was your day? How are you feeling today? What's your favorite show? What's your favorite toy? It's that interaction and the communication that allows parents and toddlers to connect and become even more cohesive with each other. It is also an opportunity to teach toddlers very simple manners, like asking with a please, or saying, may I have, or saying thank you. These are super basic manners, but they can get started in toddlerhood. Make sure you check out my channel because I've got a ton of videos on toddler tips around nutrition, food, and eating. So don't miss out. Just after this video, head into my channel, The Nourished Child, and you'll be able to see a ton of videos about toddler nutrition. And number 6, the last tip, make sure you promote engagement with food. I'm talking about letting your toddler get their hands on food, letting them poke it, sniff it, play with it a little bit. Remember, this is a sensory experience for toddlers too. And it's appropriate for toddlers to be messy when they eat and to make messes with eating. I know it can be frustrating, but if you're constantly wiping your toddler's hands and their mouth, they can get turned off by that. And that can cause problems with their willingness to eat and engage with food. So whether you're having your toddler tear up lettuce or stir batter, or you're letting them spoon their own yogurt out of a container and feed themselves, yes, it will be messy, but that sensation of having food on your fingertips, on your mouth, being involved with food is so important for toddlers at this stage. We also know that toddlers are more apt to try new foods when they can be involved and submerged or engaged with the foods that are available to them. So don't restrict your toddler from touching, engaging, smearing, playing, diving into food. There's a washcloth after the meal. What I used to do is stick them in the kitchen sink and give them a little tubby time, supervised of course, but allow that engagement with food. It will pay off in the long run. So that's it for today, but let me ask you this. What tip resonated most with you around building toddler healthy eating habits? Let me know by commenting below. And while you're at it, make sure you like this channel and follow it, and be sure to check out the other videos I have here. That's it for today, folks. Have a great one, and I'll see you next time.